We are live for Empire State of Baseball on this Monday, June the 17th, 2024, for episode number 89, airing on Instagram, X, and YouTube, and as always, powered by StreamYard. And we are back once again off a holiday weekend. So just wanted to, first of all, wish everyone out there a belated happy Father's Day, especially to our very own Thomas Wospil enjoying another Father's Day here. Tom, how was your Sunday, sir?
It was good. It was good until I yet again pinched a nerve in my back. So we're dealing with that again. But we're good. We're surviving. We're fighting through it. It's not as bad as previous attempts. So,
Okay.
We're living our life.
Very good. Joe, how are we doing today, bud?
We're doing well. Had a good weekend. Had a nice little bachelor party up in the Poconos from my one buddy. Shout out to my friend Dave, who's getting married in August.
Shout out to Dave.
So, but we went to golf. Tom would be happy to know, at Jack Frost National up in PA, which is a cool course. Went to the gun range. I had a good time overall. So it was a good weekend. Played some Rock Band. I haven't played Rock Band in ages.
That's been a long time.
Joe, what was the go-to instrument, song?
I'm off. I am terrible at Rock Band. So I play guitar on medium. I play bass on medium. And because I can't hit that orange button with the pinky, I can't move your hand down to hit that button. So I play medium. That's it. I just enjoy the tunes.
I was more of a Guitar Hero guy myself. Tried to crush the Through the Fire and Flames, little Dragon Force action back in 2008. That was the toughest song to play.
That's a throwback. That's a throwback. No, doing good. It's been great weather over here. Got another beach day in this weekend down the Jersey Shore. Mets are doing great. We'll get into that in a second. Work's been crazy though, man. Work's been really tough. Can't wait for this project to end, hopefully the end of July. But overall, though, things are great, man. I'm having a great time right now in June and looking forward to tonight's show. We have a very fun show ahead.
Yeah, you said projects, but we have quite the project later on tonight.
Oh, yes, we do.
When we preview tonight's lineup. But before we get there, I'd love to always shout out our Chooches in the chat. And they're trickling in as we speak. Jack Esposito, shout out to Jack. What's going on? I'm kind of shocked that's not Jacob Pedruzzi. He's usually the first one in there. I'm sure we'll see him later. Sierra, my co-host on the X space known as Extra Innings, which will be live once again following tonight's episode. So make sure to check that out later on tonight. I hear Corey Favs once again pumping up the numbers himself. And our guy Dane Huber also in the building. What's going on, Dane? Guest of our Creator Spotlight and the figurehead for NYY Underground and for the Yankees Farm. So shout out to Dane. Okay, so for tonight's episode, Corey Favs, I did preview one of the segments, but what else do we have on tap for the lineup?
Yeah, listen, I mean, we're going to have a great show tonight. Our biggest segment, we'll get to it in a moment, but we're going to start off Empire Express, Chooch's pick of the week. I cannot wait for the Ballpark food draft. We are going to have an absolute blast of this. More of that to come in the latter part of the show. And then guess the graph to end it off, continue with our game segment. So very fun show coming for you all this evening.
And all that is happening on 3 streaming platforms, including YouTube tonight. So make sure if you're not, obviously, for the most part, everybody who's tuned in right now is over on YouTube. But you're over checking out the show on Instagram. We appreciate you. If you're over on X, we appreciate you. But come on over to YouTube. That's where the party's at. That's where we're having the most amount of fun. So make sure to check out the live stream on YouTube and give us a subscribe. That's at Empire State of Baseball. I think we just exceeded the 335 mark. So we're working our way up to 350 and hopefully we hit that 400 plateau real soon. But while we are live on 3 streams right now, it is time to kick off our show as always with the Empire Express. And we're going to talk about the New York Mets. And now last week on the show, we started to shift the conversation. We started to become a little bit more positive. The Mets were only just 3.5 games out in a really bad National League. The NL wild card was right there for the taking. And listen, we kind of treaded lightly and say, hey, this could be just a product of a really bad league, not necessarily a good team. But over the last week, the New York Metropolitans have showed up the place of baseball. Corey Favs, what are your thoughts on the New York Mets?
Listen, I'm really happy right now. And I said it on Monday's show last week, and a few of us did as well. If you really want to make a statement and show that you have a legitimate chance of doing something here, at minimum, you have to go 4-2. But considering the competition, there was no reason not to go 5-1. And the Mets did exactly that. They went 5-1. They lost the very first game to the Marlins. And then you're like, all right, well, back to normal. There goes all the positive momentum. And then they won 5 in a row. They haven't lost a game since Grimace throughout the first pitch last week at Citi Field. So I know we're in the Grimace era in Twitter world right now, but it's a very fun time right now as a Met fan, considering where we were just a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, the season felt kind of lost, but we're very grateful that the National League is dreadful. If the National League actually had some more competition, the Mets would still be 6, 7, 8 games out of a wild card spot, even with this little rally they're on now. But the National League, because that fight for the third wild card, even the fight for the second wild card, is so putrid, the Mets now find themselves in a position where they are just a game and a half out of that third wild card spot. So we'll see what happens. But right now, feeling pretty good. Do they have some flaws? Yes. But it's happy to see that the bats have really started to come alive and been very much more consistent. Diaz has come back, pitched a couple of innings since he came off the IL. He's looked a lot better. We'll see how that goes. Still have some concerns with the starting pitching and getting the depth, but at least Quintana finally had a good start last week after he's had a dreadful month. So listen, we'll see what happens. But right now, enjoying the good times.
Joe, before you get into this, I need to just make this note that never would have thought in my wildest dreams that I would have put this purple bastard up here on Empire State of Baseball. But yet here is one of the 3 most notable mascots of McDonald's lore. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, will the real Mets please stand up, right? We have gone through the ebbs and flows of the first probably third of the season now, and we have seen an awful Mets team to start the year, a Mets team that looked pretty good at times, back to a dreadful Mets team, and now a Mets team that looks like they should be playing about the same level. So where does that lead us to? It leads us to about what we thought when the season started. The Mets are about a 500 team, and right now they are working their way back up to that, but they are playing at a level where they look like they can contend in the NL East with even teams like Philadelphia, like the Atlanta Braves. That obviously is not the case in my opinion, but the Mets have hit a good stretch here. 2 things. 1, they've started to hit, and 2, they've gotten a little healthier. They've gotten Edwin Diaz back. They've gotten Drew Smith back, which has been a great guy to come back into the bullpen. He's moved Ottavino and Garrett Reed back to roles that they should be more accustomed to being in. Although we still got to deal with Ottavino and Jake Diekman. I don't feel like dealing with that right now. They got Francisco Alvarez back. Diaz looks like he's back to what we expect from him. He's throwing about 100 now in the last few times out. So at this particular point in time, I have to think that the Mets now are in a position where they're going to start saying, okay, where are we going to be from here to the trade deadline? Are we going to be contenders? Are we going to add? Is Kodai Senga going to come back and increase the pitching depth? Are we going to be that spot? They're only a game and a half out of the wild card. Yes, there's 5 teams in front of them. We know they got to go through that, but none of those teams are inspiring confidence in their own right now. So really, it's what does Stearns need to see from this team over the next few weeks? And I think they need to play about 600 baseball over the next few weeks to tell Stearns, hey, we can work with this team. We can contend with this team, and you need to bring us another piece or 2 so we can make moves and challenge the Braves for second in the division, challenge one of these other teams for the Cubs for a wild card spot. That's what the Mets need to do right now. And Stearns, listen, give him credit. Luis Torrens, who they got for a couple bucks from the Yankees, has been a great addition for the Mets. Tomas Nido, Omar Narvaez are gone. Now it's Alvarez and Torrens for the rest of the way. That's been a great pickup. So it's let's put Stearns in the best position to make moves to address and build the team the way he wants to build it. I think the Mets have an opportunity to do that for the next few weeks.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, for sure. Completely agree. And that Torrens pickup, let me tell you something, because Nito and Narvaez, at least Nito, I know was a big clubhouse guy. The players loved him, but they gave you absolutely nothing behind the plate. And it was basically an automatic out. You were getting poor defense at times, too. And Torrens has come in and has played absolutely phenomenal in a brief window. I mean, he's a candidate who could find his way on our Bulls list maybe next week. He's been that good for the New York Mets in such a short time. And one more thing, too, before I flip to the Yankees side, see your guys' take on the current situation, too. How about the month of June? Historically, the month of June has been so dreadful for the New York Metropolitans, especially last year. I mean, last year, the team completely fell apart when it flipped to June. This might have been a different year. Maybe it's like, all right, May, we got the worst part done a little earlier. Maybe June, they get back to 500. If the Mets finish the end of June at 500, I will do cartwheels on the following July show. I will be absolutely pumped. Let's get rid of a June swoon for once and have a June boom.
Shout out to the new Mr. Met Grimace, and shout out to all y'all coming in from the chat. I told you they were going to start trickling in, and we're at 40 viewers right now on the live stream on YouTube. So thank you so much for tuning in, and a few more over on Instagram as well. Shout out to my guy Damian Serrano, part of the pregame and postgame show of X Spaces with Morning Brew Sport. He does an awesome job. Shout out to Kristen checking in on the chat for the first time. Shout out to Kristen here. Christy Evis also with Yankees Pod. They go live 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock every day on Space. Chris also affiliated with Morning Brew and Boogie Nights on Sundays. Shout out to my guy Greg Kandari. I met an ESB alum in London, Pat McCarthy, who we had as a guest, as an At the Plate guest last year on the show. Awesome guy. Led the conversation with the ESB podcast. Greg, we appreciate you so much. And if honestly, if Greg is still with us here, I also have right here, Team George, stronger than GBS. I got my shirt. We're going to shout out and support Greg and his family, as his dad is on the road to recovery for GBS, which is a rare syndrome. So shout out to Greg. We love you, Greg. We love you, George. We love the whole family. And shout out to Team George. We got Jacob Petruzzi. He showed up. He showed up late. Jacob was always here 10 minutes before the show. He showed up late today. What's up, Jacob? Sabine's here. Jimmy Randazzo's in the building. If I tweet out a pic of me watching the show on my TV, will you guys retweet? Absolutely, Jimmy.
Already done.
You know the deal. 5 retweets. We get started. Ian Kornick is in the build. Oh, I last named him. Ian and my pal. Let's talk about Cola starting Wednesday, fellas. Nithin Ramatandra. What's going on, Nithin? Shout out to Nithin. Main reason why Jim Layerts is going to be appearing on our show in about a couple of weeks' time. That is July 1st. Shout out to Celso over at Morning Brew Sports, one of the best producers in the business. And shout out to, and here's Greg again. Appreciate y'all. We appreciate you. Love you, Greg. All righty. Let's move on to New York Yankees baseball, which is where probably most of our chat came in to talk about. And let's talk about these New York Yankees. And, we're pictured that Alex Verdugo moment on Friday, but that's kind of where the fun stopped this weekend for the Yanks in Fenway as they dropped the last 2 games, dropping 3 of their last 4. And however, they're still atop the division, atop baseball with 50 wins. They're the only team to achieve the 50-win plateau. First in still the categories we stressed last week. But with the New York Yankees, I mean, Tom, just real quick over the weekend series, I mean, the Red Sox just caught a good team. Boston ran on Jose Trevino and Yankees pitching all night, seemingly yesterday, 9 stolen bases. Some takeaways from the recent games with the Yankees.
I hear there's never been a run that bad since your underwear watching the Yankee game this weekend, Richard. Oof. It was Jose Trevino got abused in Boston, and that's a problem, especially going into Baltimore. Or they're coming, Baltimore coming to the Bronx, a younger team that should have some team speed. And I mean, Christ, if Dominic Smith is going to be stealing bases, I mean it's open season on Jose Trevino, and Frank Lawson Wells too. It's not much better. It was a real gut punch. The Orioles series about a month ago, or like 6 weeks ago, I think at this point, it was in Baltimore, and it was kind of the first bad one, and you kind of expected it, but Boston, the Yankees really should. They're a much better team than the Red Sox, and kind of getting not just losing, but getting embarrassed. The bullpen floundering. Again, Trevino there's little league kids that have stronger arms. There are little leaguers that we will see in Williamsport in about a month that have stronger arms than Jose Trevino. I don't know what's going on there. It's been a problem all year. The Red Sox just finally exposed it. So the Yankees have some holes, right? I don't think this is 2022, right? That was the year the Yankees started off incredibly hot. I think that might have been the last, the last Savage's year.
It was 22. Yep.
22. I feel like everyone, or a lot of people knew, like, this team isn't that good. They somehow keep winning, but like there's problems here. I don't think that's what this is. I think this team is better, but there are problems. And there are problems that need to get solved. And some of them have to get solved outside the organization because, frankly, the bullpen, that half the bullpen almost has to go. Half the bullpen is pretty atrocious at this point. And
there are three pieces in the. Yeah, sorry, Tom. I mean, you're right. There are three pieces in the bullpen that absolutely got to go. But continue.
Yeah, I mean that's bad. The infield just in general, other than Volpe, and Volpe's actually not been good as late either. It's bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jose Trevino, I don't know, and Wells, like that, they have to find a different way to manage the running game, because they're just going to get absolutely run on. The singles will become doubles will become triples very easily. But I got time. It was regroup, an off day. I saw Sierra, and they're saying that anyone else exhaling that the fact that the Yankees aren't playing today. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like give me a bit of a breather from that before we deal with Baltimore. And I think a lot can be corrected this week, right? If they win the series against Baltimore, then they have Atlanta right after that. So it's not like it's a cakewalk after Baltimore. If you win those series, you're feeling better. We're feeling better next Monday when we're on the show. But right now it's a little bit of a gut punch, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah, definitely. I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, the three pitchers that were sketched out before: Caleb Ferguson, Ian Hamilton. Sierra here mentions Victor Gonzalez, but I'll throw in Tommy Kahnle. I think Tommy Kahnle, this second go around for Kahnle has been a fail. The bullpen is definitely going to be an issue. You want to look at what's going to happen in the corners. I know we're going to touch on the corners in a little bit after the recent news that just broke out. But Joe, go ahead. I can touch more on the Yankees right after.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Cole is coming back on Wednesday. That's obviously going to be a boost. Anybody who gets their ace pitcher back is going to have a boost. I think the Yankees' biggest problem right now is the fact that the birds are not going away. And as hot as the Yankees have been, the Orioles are tied with them in the loss column. So that's the one worry is the Yankees have gotten the best starting pitching of any team in the league. They've gotten the best offense of any team in the league. They've stitched together the bullpen. And at the end of the day, the birds are still right there with them. That's the scariest. I think that's the scariest thing with the Yankees, because I don't think any of us would say that the birds have played over their heads at any point in the season. And they're still right on the heels of the Yankees. So if things start to regress, if Judge or Soto cool off a little bit, or some of these pitchers like Rodon that we saw this past weekend cool off a little bit, the Yankees are going to start to struggle in days where they're not scoring a lot of runs, which we see that issue as it is. So that to me, as a Yankee fan, would be the biggest fear, is not necessarily that you're missing the playoffs. It's that you would lose control of the division to a team that's willing to stay there and stay and sprint with you the entire way this year.
Corey, I don't say there. Take it in. No, I can continue.
Yeah, no, and listen too. From one good thing, I do have a good thing on the Yankee side right now, and a bad thing for the Orioles. I mean, you have two teams that are duking it out for first place in that division. Yankees still holding up 1.5 game lead. One team is getting back their ace pitcher. Another team in the Orioles just lost one of their front-end starters in Kyle Bradish. Bradish going down again with the UCL sprain. He missed the first month or so of the season with the same injury. So did not want to hear it being UCL if you're an Orioles fan or a Kyle Bradish fantasy owner like myself. But that's a big swing, too, hopefully, for the Yankees getting their ace back. Now, the funny thing is, too, for the most part, the pitching staff on the Yankees has done such a phenomenal job. But when you're getting a guy like Cole back, it really does help to change the game. And we'll see how bad the Bradish injury hurts the Orioles. Now, Cole Pavich will probably get a lot of starts out there with the Orioles, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and you alluded to it before, Gerrit Cole making his return on Wednesday's start. Yanks Orioles, that's the middle game of their 3-game set. And I mean, as far as the rotation, they matched up well against Baltimore. Nestor Cortez, although despite the overall struggles, his home starts have been way better than his road starts. He's got a sub-2 ERA. You got Gerrit returning on Wednesday. And then Thursday, it's Luis Hill and his amazing story to begin this 2024 season. So they matched up well. On the Orioles side, you are going to miss a Corbin Burns in there. They're going to face Albert Suarez, Cade Povich, and Cole Irvin. Now, at the end of the day, listen, the Orioles are still finding ways to win games despite the blows to their rotation. The Orioles team, this is like we've mentioned multiple times, and we'll keep mentioning, this division is going to flip-flop multiple times. I have a hard time thinking the Yankees are going to hold court of the American League East from this point on, even facing the Orioles these next 3 games. And I'm confident with the Yankees' performance for this second go-around against Baltimore. But the Orioles are a tough bunch, and this is going to be, look, face it, these are 2 of your best teams in all the game right now in the same division. It's going to be fun to watch, and for the Yankees' sake, because I do hear a lot of the comparisons. Tom, you mentioned before about the 2022 season. I really don't want to hear it. The 2022 season, the Yankees played in over their head. They were ahead by a lot. They tailed it back. There wasn't anyone really chasing their tail until it got close to the very end, and then they turned it on. I kind of like this in a way that it's going to flip-flop. These 2 teams are going to combat all season long. They're going to stay close. There's not going to be any blowaway. There's not going to be any rest for the reary. So this is going to be a hell of a fight between the Orioles and the Yankees, and they continue tomorrow.
I was going to say real quick, that you had mentioned a couple minutes ago, but there's been a lot of talk for like the Nestor home and away splits. They are really deceiving. This is who Nestor has faced at home this year. Miami, Tampa, Oakland, Detroit, the White Sox, Seattle, they can't hit. And
they're
then
still major league teams, Tom. I kind of hate that. You know what? He's as a general, I kind of hate that as well. These are major league teams with major league baseball players. Nestor still went out there and performed. If he was a bad pitcher, he would have performed. He wouldn't have performed well against these teams.
Not all major league teams are created equal. I think.
Remember, Rich. Nobody cares if you beat the Tigers in April. They care if you beat the Baltimore Orioles in September. That's what it comes down to. Right. So, and listen, Nestor's been fine. He's your 4th or 5th starter.
I'm just saying, like, this idea that he's like unbeatable at home is like he's pitched against horrible teams besides the Dodgers at home.
No, and that's fine. But again,
when you have stats ahead of you, ahead of a home series, you have to call those out. Even if I don't,
but they're misleading.
Even if I'm not fully invested in Nestor, I have to do my job and call it out, Thomas.
And I do my job of saying they're misleading BS stats.
Listen,
I don't care who he did against Miami.
I'm not taking a game that Nestor's starting as a favorite against the Orioles. That's all I'd say. No matter if
he also was fine against Baltimore. 6 innings, 4 runs. Like, not the greatest, but not gonna lose you the game. So.
Before we get to the next bit, which is going to be Chooch's pick of the week, there was news happening over the last hour. Still very fluid conversation. So I was happy enough to actually get this worked up before the show started. But we have to talk about Anthony Rizzo. Rizzo, according to Ken Rosenthal, is going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks with an arm fracture. Of this injury, of course, sustained yesterday during the game in the collision at first base. So 4 to 6 weeks for Rizzo, who's struggled. I mean, the struggles have been well documented this season. Many can attest it to either maybe it could be post-concussion, maybe just could be father time. But it's 4 to 6 weeks for Anthony Rizzo. The major league plan as of now looks to be DJ LeMahieu playing first base. But Thomas, what are your thoughts on this? And how do you see the Yankees addressing this vacancy now at first base that Rizzo's man only?
Yeah, so I think it was Rosenthal who followed up, or Heyman or Rosenthal followed up like one of these tweets with the current plan is that DJ play first and have Waldo play third, which, I guess in the immediate, it's what you're going to do. But I don't think that's good enough. DJ, he hasn't, he's had 2 or 3 weeks. He hasn't looked great. Oswaldo started so hot and then has cooled off quite a bit. I don't think that can be your plan moving forward. But then the question is, what do the Yankees do? They have guys in the minors. They have Rice down there who's been absolutely tearing the cover off the baseball. I don't think there's a chance the Yankees are bringing him up. I think it's almost a similar case of what happened to Dominguez last year. He's only played like 10 games in AAA. And I know, they did bring up Dominguez, but that was a different case. I don't think the Yankees are going to do that. Do the Yankees try to trade for someone, right? If you got 4 to 6 weeks, that takes you right to the deadline. What first basemen are out there? I think in the immediate, right, for this week or so, you can go with Oswaldo and DJ to see what happens. But after that, if they're not producing, this team's too good to just say like, well, we're just going to, run these guys out here for 6 weeks. And then frankly, bring back Rizzo, who hasn't been good, and deal with that. That was a problem anyway. What do you think?
Yeah, but at the same time, if you do bring up a Rumfield, you mentioned Ben Rice, but TJ Rumfield, who's at this point in this season in AAA, is 305, 5 homers, 34 RBIs, was last year's Gold Glove Award winner at first base in the minor leagues. If you call up one of these players and they perform well, then you have a good problem when Anthony Rizzo comes back. And again, the struggles have been documented. Now, I also understand not trying to blow up team chemistry. Rizzo and Judge have a special relationship, and I'm sure Rizzo has a special relationship with the rest of the team as well. So, I mean, that's going to be a more fluid conversation when we get there. But I do think with an open 40-man roster spot, this could be an opportunity to see how one of these kids do on the major league level. Because I'm sorry, DJ, I'm with you. DJ can't be the plan. Not at his age. Not at this stage of his career. He can't hit. He's had 60-plus plate appearances now. He hasn't shown anything. He's shown that he's been the same player over the last couple of years, battling injury, and cannot be that contact bat that he once was and highly profiled for. Joe, take it away. I'll go to Corey.
I think the problem that's working against the two guys you mentioned, Rice and Rumsfeld, is that they're not on the 40-man. Yes, you have an open 40-man roster slot, but Cole is coming back.
Fired some of our relievers to the moon, so
right.
I could easily open up some 40-man spots for you. I can bring both guys up if you want.
But at the same time, if they come up and perform, and then Rizzo comes back, that also leaves the Yankees with a weird roster problem because you have another person who can only play first base on a 40-man roster. And if they're hitting well, you don't want to send them down. It kind of creates a weird roster spot, especially with the DH spot taken up by Stanton. There's really not going to be as much flexibility in the back end of your roster if you have basically 3 guys who are either first baseman or DHs. I think the Yankees are going to try and make it work with Cabrera and even Peraza if they can see some kind of life in Peraza and bring him up. I don't necessarily think at this point, with Cole coming off the 60 IL and taking that 40-man slot, that they're interested in making that move at this point. I think they're going to see how it goes for the rest of June.
Yeah, and honestly, too, I just find that the timing so ironic, too, because just last week we were talking about Rizzo and what they should do with Rizzo. Is it going to be a platoon? Are they going to look to do a deadline acquisition? Should someone get called up? So the time, I mean, you want to talk about timing. I mean, that's just very ironic. It's a shame you didn't have a spot for Jason Dominguez, although Jason Dominguez is back on the IL in the minor leagues, too. I don't think it's a long stay. I think I saw it was like the 7-day IL, right? In the minor leagues down there.
It was more of a bookkeeping, but it's probably going to be longer.
So that's the issue there.
That was the ironic part. I mean, Rich, we talked about it last week on Spaces.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to ship Verdugo out. Everybody's trying to send Stanton to the bench and bring up Dominguez. And we're sitting there saying there's no way that the Yankees do that. And now it seems that the problem has kind of solved itself, where at the minimum, he's going to miss a couple weeks. That's what it probably looks like. And that kind of gets the Yankees to the point where they're going to reset him a little bit. He's going to take a lot more time in the minors. So, Dominguez looks like he's out of the equation at least until September at this point.
Baseball will always be baseball. I mean, the fact that I've been a part of multiple conversations over the last week when things were going amazing for the Yankees, and the conversation was, what's going to happen when Gerrit Cole comes back? What's going to happen when Dominguez is ready? And the point I kept trying to drive home on these spaces, a lot of people in this chat can attest to it. Let baseball be baseball. These things have a crazy way of working itself out. And now in both situations with Gerrit Cole and, as Corey mentioned before, with Jason Dominguez, it seemed to work out. And you didn't have to move anybody. You didn't have to create room. You didn't have to create a weird environment, cut somebody who probably doesn't deserve to get cut or bumped down. Tom, take it away and I'll wrap.
I was gonna say I can see the Yankees going, if they're gonna bring someone up, have it be Rumfeld instead of Ben Rice, just because Rice is a higher prospect. You don't want to just bring him up, and then if it hurts his value, he's only played a handful of games at AAA. Rumfeld's been there. If he doesn't work out, it's not like, oh no, he was going to be a cornerstone trade piece for us, or we could see him being the future. They're not going to want to rush Rice up. So I could see them doing that. And frankly, they could do that for, you do DJ there for a week, you figure it out. And then you give Rumfeld about a month to see what he has. And then at that point, you figure where's DJ coming back, and you got the trade deadline, and you make your decision of who your first baseman is going to the playoffs. But at least you get a peek at him. I don't know, Rich, want to close it down here?
Yeah, let's close it down. I mean, I think those points.
What do you think?
It's going to be we're in a fluid conversation right now. This injury news just happened in the last hour and a half. We'll see what transactions made. Again, Joe mentioned Peraza. You look at the current 40 on the Yankees. There's not really anyone who fills that spot. Maybe Yorby Bebas to give a shot to, who they acquired over the offseason. That's another player who recently just came off of an orbital fracture. So we'll see what happens. Let's shout out the chat real quick, and then I'm going to throw it to Joe for the X spot here. Chris, Jonah's birthday's tomorrow. I'm going to need my space crew to sing my boy tomorrow. Okay, well, a happy early birthday out to Jonah. Joey Bag of Donuts. Okay, Mr. 4000's in the building. Now, Joey Bag of Donuts on number 3,999 was the 4,000th follow on Instagram. So now he's calling himself Mr. 4000, Joey Bag of Donuts.
I got a bone to pick with. He's been in this chat for months, and he just followed us on Instagram. He was saving that on purpose.
Well, I think it's because you've been reading the Instagram spot, so he just doesn't listen. NFE's in the building. Give him a subscribe. NFE does a great job on Tuesdays, Thursdays for his channel. We have Ghost in the building over at the Morning Brew Sports pregame and postgame show. And Dev Finch is also checking in with us. That's a scary looking avatar. I'm not going to lie. That bunny, I don't know what that's all about. But that's all right. That's okay. Joe, let's check in on X. What's going on over there?
Yeah, you can join
nothing good.
Our over 3,100 followers on X, and follow at Empire State Debate at ESB Podcast on X. Follow our subsidiary accounts at ESBNYM and at ESBNYY for your daily Met and Yankee coverage while they are playing the games, and have breaking news on there. You can also follow our personal accounts: Corey at G Gory, myself at JR Pugs, Rich at Rich J Rivera, and Tom at T Wospil. Again, all on X, and you can follow us there and get our updates, and you can even watch this stream when it goes live on X.
Love it. Quick couple more shout outs before we throw it to Chooch's pick of the week, as they're trickling in. We got 67 people. Guys, if you are here on YouTube, make sure to smack the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and make sure to share. Let's expand the conversation, get some more Mets and Yankees fans in the building as we continue to show. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers, my guy over the morning drive, and Chris Califf with Yankees Pod as well. All right, it's time for Chooch's pick of the week. Let's not even cut to the chase. What do you got, Joe?
Top second, 1-0 Mets. Alonso had an RBI single.
Yep, there we go.
All righty.
Stay hot.
Sounds good. I wonder if that Mets game is Chooch's pick of the week. We'll find out shortly. Here goes.
What's up, ESB crew? Chooch is back with Chooch's pick of the week. And this week we're going to go to AL East rivalry, the two best records in baseball. Yes, I know Orioles have the same as Phillies, but, two best records in baseball. Yankees versus the Orioles, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, midweek matchup. I'm going to go with the Yankees taking the series 2 out of the 3 games. It's the return of Garrett Cole on Wednesday, the long-awaited arrival back to the Bronx for Cole. Let's see what he's got. So that leads me into the players to watch. Obviously, we're going to keep an eye on Garrett Cole, who's starting Wednesday this week. And my hitter to watch this series will be Gunnar Henderson of the O's. What do you guys got?
All right. So
Chooch really going out on a limb, taking Gunnar Henderson to watch. Chooch, man, you're getting into our other boys' territory here with the picks. I need better from you. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna need you to dig deep, and I need you to find some guys that aren't the number one. We had Bobby Witt Jr. to watch in the past. I need better, Chooch. I expect more out of you.
Oh, I think he nailed the series to watch. Absolutely. I mean, all eyes are going to be on the Yankees and Orioles. 1,000%. It's more of now a conjecture of, hey, did he choose the right team? He's back in his Yankees, of course, taking 2 out of 3. Chooch is in the building. Corey Favs, we'll go to you, then Joe to Tom, and I'll wrap it up here. Corey, go for it.
Yeah, I'm going to back up the Chooch. I'm going to say 2-1 as well for the Yankees. And I'll definitely have my eye on Garrett Cole because my dynasty team will be very happy to have him back in the lineup. So let's get a nice quality start for Garrett Cole this week.
All right. Joe?
I'm going to go with the Orioles in this one. I think they're just a flat out better team. I think the Yankees have the better 3 players. I think every other player after Soto, Judge, and Cole are on the Orioles. I think you got to go pretty far down the list before you get to the next Yankee. I think they're the most complete team. I think they're going to run and find ways to beat the Yankees. I'm going to take them 2-3. I think the Yankees do win Cole's return.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get a quality start at Cole. See how many pitches he has in him. I think he probably threw like 80 in his last minor league start. So he'd have to really, mow down the O's to get to that quality start. Yankees have the 2 best starting pitchers in this series with Cole and Heel going in the finale. It's gonna be interesting if they win the first game because then they'll really have the pitching advantages going into the last 2. I'll go Yankees 2-3. They're home, bounce back or kind of push back after losing the series in Baltimore 6 weeks ago.
I'm going 2 out of 3 for the Yankees as well. I think they'll drop game 1. Suarez on the mound for Baltimore has pitched pretty well, despite Nestor's great start at home this year that I guess I shouldn't be fully invested in, and clearly in my prediction I'm not. Garrett Cole, Luis Hill will back the team up, give them enough where the Yankees offense click in. And here's the thing we're forgetting. Who was missing outside of Alex Verdugo the last time the Yankees played the Baltimore Orioles? Aaron Judge is actual bad. The Yankees didn't have the Aaron Judge that we're seeing now. And so if you have Judge back into the mix with Soto, with Verdugo, this Yankees team is going to find a way to bang. I got 2 out of 3 for the Yankees for Chooch's pick of the week. And I kind of echo Tom's sentiments a little bit here. Let's get a tougher pick for the player of the week. Let's get a guy who's not owned on most fantasy teams.
And I only say this because Chooch is better than that. I know he has that in him. I know he can give me an Anthony Santander if he wanted to. I know. Yeah, I know he has it in him. He has it in him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know better.
I believe him. But hey, listen, you gotta believe in this record right now. 7-6 overall record for Chooch. So give Chooch a follow at mtook45 on Instagram and on X. And speaking of Instagram, let's talk about Instagram, which just exceeded the 4,000 follower mark, thanks to guys like Joey Bag of Donuts and 3,999 other people. Thank you. Seriously, everybody here who's in our chat right now, assuming most of you guys have already followed us on Instagram at Empire State of Baseball. And for those not even listening right now, and those over on Instagram Live right now, we got Instagram Live going up currently. Shout out to everybody over there. Thank you so much. You guys motivate us every day to keep this thing going. Instagram has been a fantastic, it's been an intriguing watch over the last few months. And big thanks to Tom and Joe. Corey Favs' genius on these reels is something. The Shohei Ohtani reel just hit the 4 million view mark. So I think we're at 9.6 mil views between 4 different reels. So shout out to you, Corey Favs, for crushing it over on Instagram. And shout out to the team altogether. You guys are doing amazing work. And we're at 4,000 and we're not stopping anytime soon. Make sure to give us all a follow at Corey Favs, at JR Pugs, at Rich J. Rivera, at T Wospil, and of course at Empire State of Baseball on Instagram. But it's main event time, or shall I say main course time. It's the Ballpark food draft. First time ever doing this. And I got to shout out my guy, Tom, for coming up with this idea. So Thomas, take it away. What is the Ballpark food draft entail for tonight's episode 89?
Well, first, I don't want to claim that I invented doing a draft on a podcast. It's something I'm sure a lot of podcasts you listen to do it, but we wanted to do one that's very baseball centric. We did we made a lineup of all time New York players in the before the season started, but we thought this could be fun during the season. So what we will be doing with the 4 hosts here, we will be drafting in 5 different categories. Now, you don't have to go in any specific order, so you have the ability to choose any order that you want. The 5 categories that we will be drafting. The first, again, not in no particular order, is a main dish item. We have some picture on the screen of that, what that might entail. Next is a side or a snack. We have a late inning dessert option. And then we have 2 beverages, one, a non-alcoholic, a refreshment beverage. And then our last category is an alcoholic beverage. Now, what's going to be interesting with some of these items is some of them are a little bit of like Mookie Betts. They have a lot of position versatility. So if someone wants to draft something that is not in a category that maybe not everyone thinks it will be in, if Rich tries to sneak something past the rest of us, Corey, Joe, and I will discuss. And if he gets a 2 out of 3 majority, thumbs up, he can put it in that position. So that is something to keep in mind.
Well, Tom, you're telling me I have a chance to make popcorn an entree if I really wanted to?
That would be, listen, you'd have to really state a case. I think popcorn is an option that could maybe be a side or a snack and also, or dessert. I think that was one of the ones I was thinking of that like has some versatility there.
One for each category.
But yeah, there's definitely some options there. Now, also, we will be drafting more generalized items here. We're not going to be getting too specific. Now, when someone picks something, let's say, for example, soda. If a soda, soda will get picked at some point in this draft. Let's say Rich picks soda, and he says, "Listen, I want a Diet Coke. A Diet Coke at a ballpark is something to be treasured." Rich has soda. He's talking about Diet Coke as his kind of his specific player, but then soda's off the board. Corey then can't take Sprite. I can't then take a Dr. Pepper. Soda is then off the board, and that'll be the same for other categories. That you'll see as we kind of go down here. So again, you don't have to pick something specific. Call like an actual item out. You don't have to say you're taking the Dodger dog, but if you want to talk about the Dodger dog, if you draft the hot dog, that's definitely something we encourage here. Lastly, the order we're going to be drafting in is the order in which we currently are in our game segment standings. So I will be taking the first pick. Corey will be taking the second pick. Joe will be taking the third pick. Rich will have the fourth, and then we will snake back. So Rich will have the fifth, Joe 6th, Corey 7, me 8, and then so on and so forth. You all know what a snake draft is. You all probably have seen these types of drafts in other podcasts you listen to. We want to give it a shot here. Boys, any questions?
No.
Let's have some fun.
I'm ready to roll.
Fun. And
I'm getting hungry thinking about this.
I'm gonna be so hungry. Yeah, that's what I say. I'm about to do like I won these right after this.
And listen, you don't necessarily have to build. If you want to look at it as building an experience, like, hey, these are the 5 things that I'm getting. They don't necessarily have to be. So your side doesn't have to always play well with your main. But listen, there are some sides and mains that play well together.
Whoa!
Very
7-0 Mets.
Second inning, 7-0.
DJ Stewart with 3-run homer.
Plenty of time.
Tom, when we go with rules, can we have some fun here?
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, Thomas, you have the first pick in the ballpark food draft.
I do. And I've been thinking about this, and I think there is what's also important we have to consider here is scarcity of positioning and of talent and such in each.
Can you make a damn pick?
Here. No, because I'm going to talk about it. I've been in discussion with this player. For a week now or so as we figured out number 1 pick, and I am taking a frosty ice cold beer as my number 1 selection. If I'm going to get specific, I want to, as someone who enjoys a good craft, a stout or a sour. If I'm at a baseball game, give me a nice crispy light beer. I want a souvenir cup, and I want it to be a draft. If I'm getting specific there,
you order a sour beer in a 90-degree bowl game. You should
it would be very refreshing. You give me a nice like Ghost at a baseball game would be delightful. But listen, give me your Bud Light, give me a Coors Light, give me a Miller Light. I want it in a souvenir draft. Number 1 pick is beer. I'm very happy to have beer on my team.
I did a mock draft earlier and it fell to 4.
But,
man, go ahead, Corey.
No, he wasn't getting to 4 because beer was on my list, and I'll drink to beer.
I disagree with your
nothing beats an ice cold Bud at the game.
I agree. There's something about the ballpark where a $12 beer is like, wow, what a bargain.
Oh, but $14.50, please.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what? For my number 1 pick, and again, this is a position that is a little deep on depth, but I thought it was going to go number 1. I will gladly take it in the number 2 spot. I still would have went beer if it was available. But I'll go with the chicken tender bucket. I just think it's the GOAT.
That's
but listen, that's now we're at committee here because I think French fries are a side. So are you committee? Do we allow Corey to take a chicken tender bucket?
Fingers.
I think he just gets the tendies.
It's only the tendies.
Only the tendies.
Now listen, you can match it up with the fries later if you want, but
I'll still roll with I'm still rolling with the tenders. I think there's so many different ways you can get them to. You go with the buckets. I've had like the spicy tenders. I've had Asian tenders. There's so many routes to go. So many different stadiums. I'm rolling with the tendies. I'm sorry. I'm rolling with the tendies. I would say 60 to 70% of the time I go to a ballpark, tendies ends up being my main meal, and in different ways, in different
Corey,
styles.
Your millennial
is
showing.
For a while.
I'm doing it.
We're gonna be here for a while. I'm definitely gonna get hungry after this is all said and done.
Tendies
Joe, go ahead.
All right, number 3 pick. Tom stole my pick. I got plenty of options otherwhere. I am going with a nice Coke soda. That's it. A Coke or a Pepsi. There's nothing better than an ice cold soda, especially in the 7th or 8th inning when they can't sell you another beer. You need a nice soda, a nice caffeine while you're sitting on the BQE for 4 freaking hours after a game.
Depends where you are, Joe.
Going to save you. I am going with a nice ice cold jumbo Coke. That's the number 3 pick.
You know what? I respect you looking at the big board and seeing it's a thin category, and I think I respect you. I respect you doing that a lot.
All right, so this is a tough one, but you know what the best part about my draft right now? It's got 2 picks back to back. You could
do something very special here.
The fact that Hot Dog hasn't gone in the top 3 spots is crazy to me, so I'm taking it. This is my Mickey Mantle center field pick back in February. I'm doing it now with the Hot Dog. I'm taking the Hotดas my entree.
It's a cornerstone franchise players, the Hot Dog.
And you know what? I also have to go with again, I have to look at the thin categories as well here. I'm going to go with the bottled water for the refreshment on a hot summer day. I think I need the bottled water more than I need the lemonade or the iced tea. Definitely not going with the coffee, I'll tell you that much. And I don't know what else you guys had in mind outside of what we have pictured. But I'm going with a hot dog and a water. Real Joey Chestnut right now with my next 2 picks. No, not anymore. But yeah, not anymore. All right, go ahead, Joe.
All right, so I'm crossed here because we're starting to thin out the entrees. The best 2 entrees are gone. So I feel like I feel like there's one more entree and then there's a steep drop off. I think I got to go with a nice American cheeseburger.
That's fair.
Nothing in this world better than a cheeseburger and a soda. And I got the combination that made McDonald's billions and trillions of dollars. A burger and a soda.
I am smitten right now.
That's America right there. A burger and a soda.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, ballpark burgers tend to not be great. Let's be honest.
Well,
I mean, if you go for a big one,
ballpark pizza.
Well, listen, I'll be honest. So now all of you have taken your main items, and I think the number 2 main is still on the board, and I will be loving to take it in the 5th round. I appreciate what you guys have done.
Corey, go ahead.
Corey.
Hey. Well, I'm going to take a trip over to the dessert, and it's a specific dessert that I haven't had in a while, but it is an absolute staple. If you're a kid, there's nothing better than it, and it is the soft serve in a ball cap. I want the helmet ice.
I was considering that too.
Yep. I haven't had it in so long. Typically, I'll just get the regular cup now because I don't need any more helmets. But as a kid, as a first-timer at a ballpark, you want that helmet.
All right, our first dessert is off the board.
Oh, boy.
So, Thomas, you have back-to-back picks here, sir.
I do.
Moving, baby.
Okay.
We're moving.
We're moving. All right, listen. I think a real steal in this draft and another thin category that I want to just get out of the way because I don't know if Corey's going to take it on the way back. I'm taking for my non-alcoholic beverage. I am taking the lemonade, and I'm talking about the fresh. When they get the lemonade, where they cut half the lemon in there, they put like an entire scoop of sugar in, and then a little bit of water. That is unbeatable at a baseball game. Unbeatable at a fair, a boardwalk. Give me a lemonade.
Okay.
Give me a lemonade.
Then I need a water to after you drink that and a hot summer.
I have a nice cold beer, so I'm good there. Now, now the real question is, God, I feel like the side and snack category is so much there's so many good players. It's
snack
deep.
Is deep.
There's so many things you could do there, and you know what? I'm gonna go because I believe in my scouting process of what I've been doing on my big board. I'm gonna leave side and snack, and I can get value there later. For my my treat category, it's not on the board here. I'm gonna take the funnel cake. The funnel cake at a baseball game.
Oh wow, okay,
is incredible.
That's a pretty good one.
You get the powdered sugar on there, maybe a little bit of fruit if you're feeling fancy. But I'm gonna take a funnel cake in my category.
I've never seen funnel cake consumed at a baseball game.
Funnel cake was a staple at the Trenton Thunder when I worked at the Trenton Thunder. Funnel cake is a quality dessert. Little messy.
I feel like
listen, you're
popular at minor league parks than it is at the major league parks.
Chris Caleb here. Hey, my guy says Joe is building a solid team. Sabine, 100% soft serve, definitely. And Matt Chooch, perfect day at Yankee Stadium Food Day. Local steak sandwich, garlic fries, cold Miller Light. Ooh,
I would have taken that. Corey, I wish you didn't take ice cream. If you didn't take ice cream, that would have been. I think I'd be game over. But
I had to go for dessert.
It was good.
Yeah, I'm going to go now back to the alcoholic beverage side. I think only beer is off the board at this point. So you know what? I want a nice cold, refreshing beverage. I can't get the lemonade, but I'll do the frozen lemonade. Give me the frozen cocktail, whether it's a lemonade, a margarita, especially if you get that hot day. Sometimes that frozen beverage just hits the spot nice and cold. Maybe get a little brain freeze on a 90-degree day. So I'm going to change it up a little bit and go the frozen cocktail.
A lot of cold.
So you're just saying cocktail is off the board with that pick, I would say.
Well, I would say frozen cocktail. I guess if you want to get creative, I think you can get maybe some ways around that. But
frozen cocktail.
Like that's a
I think a frozen margarita, a frozen
margarita.
A lemonade with alcohol is basically a margarita. So I would say frozen margarita is what you were taking here.
Basically.
Okay.
All right, am I up?
Yes, you are.
All right. I'm gonna complete the trio right now. I'm building the all-American roster, baby.
Yeah.
This is Team USA. We are taking the popcorn. That's what we're taking. We're taking the popcorn. The popcorn is the GOAT snack. It is the entertainment snack. There is nothing more you want to do when you're being entertained than shovel handfuls of popcorn down your face.
Okay, so
Joe, I need to ask: is this your side snack or late inning dessert? Because I think they could flip as both.
I do think this has some versatility where you want to select.
It does have some versatility. This is going to be my late inning dessert.
All right,
I'm getting late inning dessert.
This is seventh inning. I finished my alcohol. I got my soda. It's a little sugary. I want the saltiness to complement the sugar. Let's go with the popcorn. Popcorn, burger, soda. That's as American as it gets.
All right. So I have the 12th and 13th pick here. We're moving through this pretty quickly here. It definitely picked up after that first round, I'll say the least. So I have an entree and a refreshment picked so far. So with my hot dog, we're gonna go here with the side. You know what? we gotta throw in the French fries here. I'm going with
that's
the
what I
French
thought
fries.
Joe was going. I thought Joe, if Joe was able to do a three-headed monster of a soda, a burger, and fries, could have been an unbeatable. And I think it's just an all-time blunder by Mr. Pugliese with that selection. Good.
So
good
I got the fries at the side. So I got my entree, I got my side, I have my refreshment here. You know what? We're gonna. I think I can get away with a decent late inning dessert, so I'm gonna go alcohol here. I'm gonna go new age. I'm gonna go with the vodka seltzer. Specifically, I'm gonna go with a high noon. I like the high noons out of all the different vodka seltzers that are out there. It's in a can. It's convenient. I don't have to worry about spilling it so much if I knock it over. I'm going with the vodka seltzer. Specifically, we'll just say the alcoholic seltzer for my beverage pick there at the back end. Joe, go for it.
Good pick. It's a good pick.
All right. You took the fries, but I had two choices there. I feel like tater tots to some people are as good of a choice as fries. So I'm going to go with the tater tots. Why? They're simple. They're easy. They're not messy. They're going to pair well with the burger. The tater tots, baby. That's a burger and tater tots. That's a great meal at the ball game.
Did I have that for lunch yesterday at the golf course? I did. But we're not drafting golf course food. We're drafting baseball food. And I don't know, man. I think you're...
I'll tell you what, guys, as I'm looking at it, before Corey makes his next pick, there's going to be a side left off that's going to like scratch your head at the end of this draft. I'm just going to put it to you that way. But Corey Favs, go for it.
Yeah.
I wanted the tots. I specifically had the tater kegs at Citi Field in my mind, loaded with cheese. Oh, they're phenomenal. But
have fun running to the bathroom after a couple of those.
That's true too. But let's see. I need a side or a snack, and I also need a refreshment beverage. I'm going to hold off on the refreshment for my last pick. So thinking ahead at the side orders. And you know what? I'll go with the nachos. Again, a little messy, opposite of what Joe said about not being messy. I'm going to go with the messy one. But I'll tell you what, with the nachos too. Again, this is the same type of thing that you go to a lot of different stadiums. They do it different ways. Especially you get a lot of those like Tex-Mex style nachos. So I'm going to go with the nachos as my snack, as a nice pregame to the tater tots.
Wow.
There you go. All righty. So, Thomas, this is it for you. Last two picks. You're still missing a side, and you're missing an entree, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, let's hear it.
Yeah. So I'll start with my main. Because I think this plays it is great. It is actually it's an improvement over one of your of a similar selection made. Give me the sausage sandwich. Give me some peppers and onions on the sausage. You go brat, all those types of options. It's better. It's a hot dog, but better. Is basically what a sausage is. I was thinking maybe cheesesteak. Cheesesteak was an option in my head. Ballpark pizza, never considered that. I'd probably rather die than eat pizza at a ballpark. But a sausage sandwich is fantastic.
If you're
give me that.
At the age of 7, you should not have pizza at the ballpark. Like let's be realistic. If
I don't disagree.
At the ballpark, you might be a sociopath.
Here's my issue now. So I got my side and my snack. Now there are how many sides have been taken so far? Side snacks.
Well, the fries are off the board. The tots are off the board. The nachos are off the board.
So man, and I don't think either of these. I can bring them up later. Neither of these would qualify as late inning dessert either. But one of them is more food than other. I will take. You give me in the first inning a bag of peanuts, and I could just nosh on those peanuts for innings. You just sit there. It's a little activity. You're breaking a peanut open. You're eating a peanut. You could do it. You could do it all game. It becomes an activity along with what you're eating. It's a classic snack that really could just bring oodles and oodles of fun. Give me peanuts.
All right.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Nothing says it.
Man, I can't believe.
Yeah, that's a fair pick.
All right, Corey Favs.
All right, well,
I think all you have left is refreshment.
Basic refreshment here. There's really not much left, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge coffee guy. I love to grind my own beans, but I don't think I've ever gotten a coffee at a ballpark. So I'm gonna go with iced tea. You know what? Yeah, that's fine. Give me an Arizona iced tea. Give me some sort of local iced tea. I'll gladly take iced tea in the last round. Not the flashiest pick, but I will enjoy it when I have it.
All right, Joe. I think all you're missing is an alcoholic beverage.
All right, so I'm gonna go with the classic mixed cocktail. It's gonna cost you. It's gonna run you $25 for a nice Jack and Coke or a Seagram's and 7. It's gonna cost you, but with the fact that I'm already going to be having a soda after the fact, my palate doesn't have to change. So I go for the Jack and Coke early with the burger, and then I go for the regular Coke late with the popcorn. My palate's complete. I'm not
all that sugar.
Palate flavors. I have it straight through. And what's more American than a Kentucky bourbon, baby, with some soda? The complete American baseball experience brought to you by yours truly.
Wow.
I don't know.
What a lineup. What a lineup. Now, I have the final pick, and for me, it is the dessert. I have the hot dog. I have the side of French fries. I have the water. I have the vodka seltzer. Not a bad lineup at all here. I look at that late inning dessert, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. Maybe one of these can flip into the dessert category. Could I draft Cracker Jacks as my dessert?
I think that's fair.
If Cracker Jacks can be dessert.
I agree.
I would say, and they're sweet. It's essentially it's caramel corn. And yeah, I would. I would say. I thought you were actually going to go try to get pretzel in as a dessert.
No, I don't. I wouldn't qualify that as dessert.
I wouldn't either. But I'm just
hot pretzel. I wouldn't say that would be. But at Cracker Jacks, I think because the popcorn's in that category, I'd say Cracker Jacks would flip there. I would even say probably peanuts would probably flip there too if peanuts were still on the board. But I'm going with Cracker Jacks as my final pick, and that is a ballpark food draft. So let's read those lineups one more time. All right. So for Tom with our first pick took cold beer as his alcoholic. But actually, I'll read it as the way we had it presented. So for an entree, you had sausages and peppers. For a side, you had peanuts. For a refreshment, lemonade. Or sorry, as a dessert, you had funnel cake. Crazy. As a refreshment, lemonade. And for alcohol, a basic cold beer was the number one pick, which I think was a quality pick at that number one. Corey, for his entree, he had the chicken tenders, no fries. He had for a side, he had the nachos, maybe in the nacho helmet. That'd be cool. For the dessert, he had the ice cream in the helmet, so maybe you don't need two helmets, I guess. For the refreshment, he had iced tea. For the alcohol, he had a frozen cocktail / margarita. All right. For Joe, his entree is a cheeseburger. His side was tater tots. His dessert, he had popcorn, refreshment soda, and his alcoholic beverage was a mixed cocktail. And for me, the entree I had was hot dog with a side of French fries. My late inning dessert is Cracker Jacks, a refreshment of water, and a vodka seltzer as my alcoholic beverage. So there you have it. And what we're going to do over the next couple of days on X, on Instagram, we're going to post the results of these drafts. And it's going to be up to you, our audience here, our followers on YouTube and Instagram and X, to vote on which lineup of food is the best. Which ballpark itinerary are you going with when it comes to entrees and sides, desserts, alcohol, refreshments? I mean, we have 4 all-star lineups here of food and drinks. And that was a whole lot of fun.
I got a question, guys. Did anyone consider seeds? Because I really wanted to draft seeds, but they're not also I guess they're technically food, but as a seeds at a baseball game is, that's pretty unbeatable.
When you're playing baseball, in my opinion. If I'm at the game, I can't spit them out like I do on the field. You know what I mean? You gotta worry about the guy scratching his crack in front of you and you got to see
down there.
You can't do that.
Yeah. I was gonna say. So I mean, other misses here. When you were talking about the coffee, listen now, not to make fun of our Mets fans here, but when you go to baseball games, maybe in October, it gets a little chilly at night. A nice hot chocolate or a hot coffee is delightful. Mains that I had about pretzel not going drafted. Interesting. Cotton candy. I hate cotton candy. I'm happy it didn't go. Honestly, cotton candy is like a locker room cancer would destroy your roster. I
don't like a glazed late round pick. How about like a glazed donut?
When have you ever had a glazed donut at a baseball game?
City Fields had them on occasion.
Yeah, and despite my trip to Napa Valley, I didn't go with a glass of wine. Trust me, I did not go with a glass of wine. I had a damn baseball.
What Zeppelis? Have you ever had Zeppelis at a game?
Chris not at a game. That's why I'm getting my funnel cake. It's the same thing, just in different form. I can't believe you guys never had a funnel cake at a baseball game. Maybe it is more minor league.
I've never seen it. I've just never.
I think it's a minor league.
Maybe it's more minor league. I associate maybe because I spent so much time in Trenton at the Trenton Thunder. Like
Somerset Patriots have a funnel cake.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do, actually.
I feel like funnel cakes are also very Jersey, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's a Northeast.
Thought about the churro, but I don't know what if I think I've had a churro in California at a baseball game and a Dodger game, but that's about it. So
that was a lot of fun. So stay tuned on our social platforms.
I have
the results.
A chipwich.
A chipwich,
like a chipwich ice cream set. That would have been a sleeper. That would have been a great dessert.
Could have played.
Yeah. Rich is thinking about it now.
No. But we already picked the ice cream as
ice cream in a helmet is not a chipwich.
I think it'd have been an interesting conversation.
We would have had a vote on that one.
Yeah. I guess it would have been in the borderline where we did the frozen Marg and the
chipwich is not soft,
which is true. It's true.
All right, roll back. Let's talk roll back. We'll throw it over to Tom, who's got some news regarding it. So pay attention to this one.
Yes. So, unfortunately, this Friday, our beloved promo code TWASPL15 will be coming to an end. Hopefully, for just a temporary time. Roback runs their promo codes through seasons, and the spring season is coming to an end. So we're hoping we can get us renewed, but that won't be for a little while. So if you love the kind of the polo that I got going on, what Corey has on, I love Corey so much. I have that as well. Thought about wearing it today. We could have matched. Would have been adorable. But yeah, listen, the promo code TWASP15, if you've been thinking of ordering something, you have until Friday. After that, I know you hear a lot of order this week. It's only good for this week. This is true. After Friday, the promo code will be going away for the time being. Hopefully we get it back. Roback, again, has the best Q-Zips, polos, hoodies in the game. They got bathing suits. They got awesome stuff. They got women's stuff out there. So if you're thinking about it, head over to roback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. Use promo code TWASPL15. Pick something up for yourself or for a family member, a friend. Again, you have till Friday.
There you go. You have till Friday. That's the deadline. TWASPL15, 50% off your next, 15% off.
15% off, yeah.
15, not 50. Chooch in the chat goes, Corey seems like a Dippin' Dots kind of guy.
Oh, God. Talk about a locker room cancer. With Dippin' Dots would coming in saying that he's the future. He's the future.
Oh, man.
You get out of here.
Dippin' Dots would be in the mall food draft.
Oh, not the mall food draft. All right, it's time for Guess the Graph. And Joe's got one of the balls today, and I have the other. So, Joe, let's take it away with your ball here. Any hints for the fellas as we start our 3-strike system?
Okay. First hint. This and hide your chats.
Hide the chat.
This player played for both the Mets and Yankees in his career.
Curtis Granderson.
No.
Jesse Orozco.
No.
Oh, God, that's what a long pause.
What's with the delays?
Hate to think about it. If it was or wasn't Jesse Orozco, that's why.
Liam Mazzilli.
Yes.
Oh God!
Wow!
I saw the Z's.
I
saw the Z's in the middle.
Lee Mazzilli.
I saw the Z in the middle.
Yeah, those are Z's.
I thought those were S's, and then I saw the L's, and I'm like, is that
Wow.
Mazzilli?
I thought it was a big O.
Corey, not even a K to the ledger there. Wow.
Wow.
Lee Mazzilli.
I'm usually
Hell
bad
of
at
a
this.
pull.
Yeah. Wow.
Hell
Lee
of a
Mazzilli.
pull.
I got the Z and the L. The Z and the L.
What's going on, Yankees, too? He guessed Cologne, obviously not Cologne. But yeah, Lee Mazzilli, my goodness, what a pick. And record timing there for Corey Favs. Excellent. Yep. So Corey's on the board with that one. All right, so let me throw it to mine. I'll throw the TikTok back on, and let's pull up my ball here. This player, former Yankee, active player.
Active player.
Former Yankee, active player.
Yeah.
Joey Gallo.
Yes, it's Joey Gallo.
I think it's
The J is very
Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, for the sense of timing, thanks very much for that, guys. But holy
my J's and my signature look exactly like that.
I think I have a Joey Gallo ball too. I was looking at it.
I got it before Tom.
Yeah.
Who owns the ball?
That's not
I
mine.
didn't get a chance to put my pen down yet. Good Lord.
Sorry.
All right. So the Mets guys take it away with Lee Mazzilli and Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo, everybody's favorite Yankee about a couple of years ago at this time. But yeah, and Yankees too looks like a dog.
You can play first. Let's bring Joey Gallo back.
No, good. Where is he? Is he still with the Nationals? I think.
Nationals.
I think he's been absolutely horrendous.
Well, at least they're not missing much there. All righty, well, let's wrap this thing up. It's 9:10. I know Sierra's chomping at the bit to get on the space. Which, speaking of extra innings, we'll be back following the conclusion of tonight's episode. So probably around the 9:15 mark, we'll get things going. So make sure to give us a follow at ESB Podcast on X if you haven't already. Sierra and I will be joined by either Corey, Joe, or Tom, or all three. Who knows? We'll find out. Joe joined us last week, so we'll see who joins us out of the remaining trio. And as a reminder, Jim Blairitz will be joining us on the show in a couple weeks' time. That is July 1st, 96-99 World Series champion with the Yankees. Going to be a lot of fun to talk to Jim Blairitz, another former late 90s World Series champion. We had Homer Bush on to kick off season 2 last year. So now Jim Blairitz joining us in a couple weeks' time. And for next week's episode, that's the big number 90. Can't believe we've already reached number 90 on the episode count. But we're going to be joined by another content creator for our bi-weekly creator spotlight segment. And that is going to be an individual by the name of Eddie Presti over at the Morning Brew Sports Network. He is one of the co-hosts of the Mets Evening Brew, which, of course, we had Anthony Rivera on a couple of weeks ago, who's one of the trio that hosts that show. But Eddie Presti does great stuff with Morning Brew between the Mets content and the Knicks content. And he's going to be joining us next week. That is June the 24th, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. But with that said, let's take it around the room. Some thank yous. We'll start with Corey, go to Joe, Tom, and then I'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
No, I just want to thank the Mets for making baseball fun again. 9-2 in the top of the 4th inning.
Damn
that. Wow.
Now, just thank you to all the fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to everybody. Mr. Wospil here being our father in the crew. Great day. Celebrate you guys. Dad's always overlooked sometimes how much they do for everybody. So happy Father's Day to all.
Yeah, I'll echo that as well. Happy Father's Day out there to everyone. Hopefully, get to spend some time with your dad if you have the ability to. And let's roll into June here, or halfway through June. Let's keep it going.
One more week of June for this 2024 season. No, again, echoing the sentiments of everybody. Happy Father's Day to all. Hopefully you guys enjoy the weekend. Love you, Dad, if you're checking in on the show. Love you if you're not checking on the show. We appreciate your support either way. And thank you all to the 84 of you who came out to join us here for Empire State of Baseball. A lot of fun with the Ballpark food draft. And thank you, Joe, Corey, and Tom for keeping it light and having some fun on tonight's episode. We'll see you here next Monday, June 24th at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time with Eddie Presti. Take care.